Hi, I'm Jack Berry, and I'm at Red Run Golf Club in Royal Oak, Michigan, one of the most famous clubs in the state, in the area, home of a lot of major championships. And right now we've got a new manager here at Red Run Golf Club, Joe Marini.
Jack, thank you. Welcome. Good to see you guys again. How you been?
Good.
It's been a little while.
Joe was just at Meadowbrook doing a great job out there, and now he's at Red Run. And what's happening here?
It's actually my second day, so I got to meet Bruce today and drive around the golf course on a rainy day. But we're doing a lot of great work here, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm honored to be able to be the manager at Red Run.
Well, one of the guys who is doing a lot of the work is Gary Thommes, the golf course superintendent.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Good.
Very excited to have Joseph Marini here as our new manager, and that conjunction with Bruce Hepner here, guiding us through the golf course in the next future here. So we're very excited.
Now here's the guy who's going to do all the work, Bruce Hepner, golf course architect from Traverse City. Worked with Tom Doak over the years, and they have a bunch of terrific architects up there in Traverse City. It's they've got I don't know what's going on up there. Good water.
Must be.
Bruce.
Must be good. Thanks, Jack. It's good to see you again, and it's great always to be back to Red Run. I grew up about a mile from here. Actually caddied here for a half a year, so it's kind of fun to be back at this golf course.
That's fantastic. Now, what are you going to do here?
Well, basically, we're kind of restoring the classic features of the old Willie Park design. You know, we're opening up the mowing lines back to their original spatial size. We've taken a few trees out to open up the air circulation and moving some tees around, but kind of just restoring the old classic principles of design to the place.
Well, you remember the days when they had the Motor City Open here, back post-war, the post-Big War, and did you caddy? How much after that war were you caddying?
Oh, I caddied like the mid-'70s, so it was a lot after that. I was just a kid. 13-year-old kid didn't know what he was doing. So hopefully I know a little bit more about golf, and I've returned. It was 43 years since I walked on this property when I came back, so it's been fun.
Now, you're known as an expert on the bunkering, and how many bunkers are here at Red Run?
There are 82 bunkers currently right now on the golf course.
Yeah.
How many are you going to keep?
No, we're actually adding a few. How's that? Now, they're all in good positions. You know, they're all in the right spot for strategic golf, but we've added a few here and there just to make it more interesting, and replacing a few trees with some bunkers, just bringing back the old classic ground features.
Well, how has the game changed over the years now?
You know, surprising, it hasn't changed much for your average golfer. It's changed a lot for your tour player. Obviously, they're hitting the ball a lot further. But your average amateur player, it hasn't changed a whole lot. You know, equipment has changed a lot, but the ball's not going in the hole any faster for some reason. So, you know, when they talk about the ball going too far and the equipment, you know, hitting the ball a long ways, that's what you see on the weekend on TV. But at any club, these old golf courses hold up really well. So, you know, there's more women playing, there's more kids playing than there used to be. But for the most part, the golf hasn't changed much, and that's why we like restoring these old golf courses. You know, back in the 20s and 30s, Willie Park Jr. was the architect here. They really knew what they were doing, and they really understood the land and imposed great, interesting design into it. And we're just trying to bring that back. So, you know, we're not trying to change it. We're trying to take it back to what it was, because it's really relevant.
Well, you're not the kind of guy who just points and says, do this, do that. You like to get right in and do it yourself.
Yeah, luckily we have Gary here. You know, Gary's very capable, and he's done a lot of the work. But you know, in new projects, when I worked for Tom, we all knew how to build. So I'm used to building bunkers, building greens at the clubs I work at. But there's Gary's been doing work here forever, and the work's, you know, he just built a couple bunkers this week, and I looked at them, and they're just fine. So. I do have expertise in construction, so I know how to apply it, but I also know when it's well done.
So when are you going to start?
We've been here for, I've been here for 2 years. We're almost done. You know? So, you know, it's a constant, slow process. You know, it's feeding, you know, we're doing all the work in-house, so we can only do so much at a time. But we've done quite a bit so far. You know, the golf course has transformed quite a bit with some of the tree thinning back, opening the spaces. The mowing lines have changed the golf course drastically, you know, in a positive way. So now we're just doing little construction projects. Every year, Gary tackles a couple of teeing complexes that we're kind of rebuilding and reshaping. We just added a few new bunkers just now. But a lot of the big heavy lifting is already done. Now we're just little projects picking away at it.
Okay, Gary, you're the guy who's in charge of doing the work and overseeing it and being out in the golf course, even in the winter and on days like this when it's a little rainy. Although I'm sure you're happy to see some rain.
Yes, I am happy to see some rain. It's been very dry the last couple of weeks, so that was all great. Working with Bruce has been very enlightening. It's a work in progress. We got a lot of support from the members and the board of directors to continue moving forward with this process. It's not a complete renovation, but it's a lot of little things that add up to be a lot of great things. So tree removals and cut lines and just opening up the golf course for better viewing and better playing. It's much better.
Well, those trees kind of grow, don't they?
It's amazing how fast trees grow. I always used to say, go back to the house you grew up in as a kid and look at the trees in your yard, and you'll be astonished at how big they got. So, yes, trees do grow fast, so, and the right type of species. Unfortunately, we had an elm crisis back in the 60s, so a lot of overplanting with some trees that really were not native to this area. So a lot of kind of overplanting here and there, kind of thinning out the herd a little bit.
Well, it still is a good-looking golf course when you look around here, and I know that the people who were here for the Western Junior a couple of years ago, they were very impressed, and a lot of those kids have moved up now to the Western Amateur, and pretty soon they'll be on the tour. What do you remember from growing up in the area of Red Run? What stood out for you?
Well, in our day, I grew up in Detroit, in Royal Oak, went to Don Darrow, and Red Run was, that was the country club for us. I grew up playing Rackham as a kid. That's where I played golf, or, Royal Oak Golf Course, or even Normandy Oaks. So I was a public golf course. So we were just the kids in the neighborhood, and this is where we caddied. We could get some work. It was the epitome. It's quite funny because, I work all over the world and, working for Tom and some pretty good clubs around the country. My parents are 90 years old, and they're pretty impressed with my career. But when I tell them I got hired by Red Run, my 90-year-old dad went, "Oh, you finally made it." Well, I'm kind of doing pretty good elsewhere. So that was this was the epitome for us as kids.
Well, give us some of the elsewheres.
Piping Rock in New York City, they just won Best Renovation of the Year last year. In Detroit area, Birmingham, I did all the work at Detroit Golf Club. I'm at Franklin Hills, then all over the East Coast. And I just came from Florida. I spent the winter in Florida at Timuquana. It's a great down Ross course that just finished restoring. So all over the country. It happens to be close to home, which is nice.
Well, Joe, you came from Meadowbrook. They had a lot of Motor City Opens over there, just like Red Run. What's going to happen here at Red Run?
Great things. We have a lot of stuff going on and great future for Red Run, so I'm happy to be here.
Well, you just there was a good tournament a few years ago, the Western Junior. Are we going to see anything else?
Nothing on the horizon, but hopefully something real soon. If the work with Gary and Bruce doing, I think we got some great uptake, so looking forward to it.
Well, we got to give Joe a little break here because he's only been on the job a couple of days. So.